So I'm wandering around the boats looking for my subject, and I think I've spotted it. It's bright yellow. I was here a couple weeks ago, so you might recognize this location. I think that would be the perfect subject. I want a bit of color, you know? So I've got my paint gear, sketchbook. I think I'm gonna stand here and sketch because there's not really anywhere to sit. Plus the weather looks kind of ominous, and I need to be able to run at any moment back to my car. So I've done my sketch, and now I realize from my car I can actually see this boat. So I'm gonna go back up to my car, set up my stuff on the boot, and paint from there. Because this is kind of a through road, I guess. There's lots of cars that come through, and I don't want to sit right here on the edge. So yeah, time to paint. I'm really looking forward to trying this portable painter micro, because I think once I'm used to it, it'll be a really good little gouache palette. Well, that's what I'm gonna use it for. And you know, since it's so small, I'll just refill the pans every time I paint. No big deal. It's hard to breathe in the mask. So first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to Portable Painter for sending me this micro palette. And no, I'm not sponsored, but if you saw my last couple videos, I have mentioned that I got the Portable Painter and one of the sides was loose. I had originally contacted them and I just was wondering if they had any like quick fixes, but they ended up sending me a brand new one plus the micro palette to try out. They're just honestly so nice and they have amazing customer service. And so I thought it would be fun to take this little micro palette out for a spin. This is the maiden voyage of the micro palette, if you will. My first impressions are that, first of all, just like the portable painter, it's super easy to put together, so that's a bonus. And it actually held a decent amount of water. I was kind of skeptical if it would work for gouache because I typically use a little bit more water for gouache. But for a small painting like this with only a few colors, it was actually pretty perfect. In addition, I usually use a lot more space for color mixing when I use gouache, so I was wondering if that was going to be an issue, but I didn't find myself feeling like I was lacking space. I mean, if you have more space, you're probably going to use it, but if you are limited to a smaller amount of mixing space, you might be surprised at how much you can get used to it and how it doesn't really feel like you're limited. To be honest, the amount of mixing space on this palette was actually pretty luxurious compared to my normal micro palette setup. Previously, I had converted an Altoid tin into a 6-color palette, and I stuck a magnet to the back so I could easily attach it to my magnetic wristband. That way, it was sort of hands-free. But it was extremely difficult to balance it and not spill the water, as well as find an area to mix, or just accept the fact that I'm not mixing my color on the palette, I'm mixing it on the paper, which is pretty much what I did all the time. Was it convenient and tiny? Could it fit in my pocket? Yes. But it was not ideal. It really made me struggle with my workflow with my painting, so I pretty quickly abandoned that idea and moved back to my slightly larger palette with more colors and more mixing space. But I always wondered if I could figure out a way to make my micro palette work by somehow adding another tray to the magnetic wristband, or I don't know, just figuring out a way to make it work. So fast forward to now, and guess what? I don't have to find a way to make my weird little setup work. It's like this micro palette just dropped out of the heavens and said, hey, here you go. Here's a way you can do what you want. So for a quick little gouache sketch, I actually found this to be perfect. And the other thing I loved about it, obviously, is the tiny size. When it packs away, it fits in the palm of my hand, so I could just put it in my pocket. But even if you have just like a tiny little shoulder bag or purse or little backpack, it doesn't take up space. So then I was thinking, well, the portable painter, the normal size one, is already so tiny, and it also has extra water storage and more mixing space. So why would I really need a micro palette anymore? And then I remembered sometimes I do just run out the door, go for a quick walk or jog through the forest, and tossing something like this with a single brush and my tiny pocket-sized sketchbook into my coat pocket would be kind of perfect for those spontaneous moments. I always regret not bringing painting or sketching equipment. Always. So I'm thinking I'm just going to leave this little micro palette with my tiny sketchbook and a brush by the door so that when I do go out for those spontaneous walks, I can quickly grab it and then I won't have any regrets. But for my normal painting sessions, I would definitely go for the regular portable painter because, again, it's not that much bigger and it offers a little bit more. I've actually been using the portable painter on the couch almost every single night, and I just leave it on the living room table so it's always nearby for sketching. But now that I have a replacement, I can just take that out with me for my regular sessions. So just a heads up, if you want to watch the real-time version of this painting with my thought process, you can go check that out on my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. But otherwise, I really look forward to sharing more plein air painting sessions with you all. The weather has been amazing lately, so I am definitely finding myself going out much more often. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.